Hey, YouTube, or I should say, hello, Saints. I use my Saint talk because I was just listening to Almond Brown's reading of my book, The Epiphani, which I'm just enjoying it. That's my new guilty pleasure. So she's reading my book, The Epiphani, which is the second book in a series, Love and Gospel Music, right? So she's starting with book 2. It's a standalone book, but she's reading every Monday, 9 o'clock. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I want to recommend all you guys go over there. Let me put the link in here. She just does an excellent job of that. And it's something that me as the writer, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. To hear someone else read it. And she knows how to read with diction. And she can do several characters. There are several characters in this book. This book is fiction. So this book is almost totally dialogue. So it's a book that you can read like a play. It's the best I can describe it. But she's doing a great job. And I know you ladies like to read. A lot of you like to read. And I think it's a good way to introduce this book series. I don't know how to properly promote it, but I think this way is a good way to be introduced to that story. It's a saga, of course. I mean, it's 4 books. So, and I'm working on book 5. I started working on it again today. Every time I say I'm starting to work on it, I get drawn into it. It's good, then I let myself get distracted. Well, I have to not be distracted because it's a great series. But yeah, I was really amused by that. Y'all check it out. How y'all doing today? Can you believe them damn Republicans? Them people are trying to push through. Do the exact same thing happened with Barack Obama, except Barack Obama had, I think it was several months from the end of his term to nominate somebody for the Supreme Court, right? The Republicans went out of their way to block it. They blocked every move. They didn't want him to nominate shit, right? And now they have the nerve to come here. We are weeks, 6 weeks or so from the election, and they're trying to say they're going to try to push somebody in there before then. Trump is trying everything. This is what happens when you have an immoral president. I mean, they're all crooks. Let's face it. McConnell is the main one pushing this thing, but Trump is still the one in charge. You see what you have when you have an immoral person there? They made all that fuss about Obama nominating somebody before he left. And then they had the audacity to try to do the very same thing themselves and push it through with only 7 weeks to go. It's crazy. I haven't been able to watch it. Their hypocrisy is just so goddamn. And then if you close your eyes or walk away for a day, you come back and it's all something new. So now, of course, we've lost the lady, Ruth. Is it Garrison? Anyway, she's gone now. And now they ain't even put her in the ground, and they are trying to replace her. They want to get all these Republicans on the Supreme Court. So I guess then they're going to start trying to tear down everything that's been built up. They're going to try to take away health care. I mean, Trump has the nerve. He is such a liar. He came into office saying that he was going to do away with Obamacare and replace it. The next day, you wouldn't even know it was gone. It's going to be something better. So tell me, Trump, you're 3.5 years in, 3 3/4 years in, and you ain't got no kind of health care plan at all. So what was supposed to happen when you took away Obamacare? When you tried at every turn to cripple it, at every turn to cripple Obamacare. There's nothing to replace it. It was all bullshit. It's only thing you were going to accomplish was to do a favor for your friends in pharmaceutical, right? Healthcare industry. You only intended to help them so they can keep charging these exorbitant prices. Meanwhile, most other countries in the world have moved forward. Most progressive countries have moved forward, and now they have health care. But these Republicans, they want to resist. Resist for what? What did you save? Corona came along and wiped out trillions of dollars. What did you really save? So all those people would be stuck without any health care at all. Now you got an economy that's not working. They keep saying there's 9 or 10% unemployment. I don't believe it, because I don't think, if nobody's working, how the hell can it only be 9 or 10%? My guess is a lot higher than that. Maybe you people are still on the books. You haven't been officially fired yet. But this whole situation is a mess. Everything's a mess. And Donald Trump says that if you elect him, then it won't be a mess. How does that make any sense, Trump? This is your government. You are the one in charge. The riots in the streets, the police brutality, all the killing of black people, it all happened on your watch. But of course, he takes no responsibility for nothing. Nothing. It was all Joe Biden. Somehow he's trying to blame Joe Biden. If you can't get Biden, he'll go back to Obama. Doesn't take responsibility for anything, and then he wants you to give him 4 more years to sit up there and do nothing. Sit up there and just be grand. I'm talking to the world leaders. I'm talking about what, Trump? You haven't accomplished shit. Disgusting ass person. So people feel like, oh, it's no big deal. We can have a reality star in the White House. It's no big deal. Oh, we like him. Oh, he's not with the status quo. Oh, Trump, a man who never even been a mayor, never been in politics at all, never done anything for anybody at all. He's supposed to be the president. You got what you asked for. This is what you want, Republicans? You put his lying, stealing, snaking, sexting pervert up in the White House, and you expect something to be accomplished? There's nothing accomplished, honey. He goes, every time there's some kind of race issue, he goes over there and give you his rah-rah, I'm with the white people, and that's what you get. That's all you get. Then he said he claimed he like these white people so much, but he's willing to kill their ass. I mean, look at all the people. You put them all together, all the ones he's had at these rallies. All of these white folks with no mask on. All of these overweight white people. All of these old people in the damn thing with no mask on. Herman Cain and all of his crowd. He's seen them die. He don't give a shit. And he still, when I say put a mask on. But that's what you want for your president. It don't make sense. But you get what you ask for, people. So I guess this country hasn't really moved all that far ahead at all. There's still some people, a lot of people, a whole lot of people, enough people in this country who care more about their prejudice than they do about anything else. Than they do about their health care, than they do about their jobs, than they do about anything, essentially. Because Trump don't really give a damn about no damn abortion. He don't care. He give a fuck about that. He knows that's what you care about. And y'all will say, oh, he's the Christian man. Oh, he's a Christian man. Then every time he show you tapes of him talking, you see what he is. They turn a blind eye to that. Oh, he gonna overturn the Roe versus Wade. He ain't gonna do shit. He gonna get what he can get. He gonna play president, and he gonna get out of office. If he gave a fuck about this country, if he gave anything about this country, he wouldn't be leading us into the abyss. He would care more about the country than his own ego. He don't want to be no damn president. He don't want nothing to do. He wants you all kissing his ass, and he wants to turn the TV on and hear his name being spoken every single day. That's all it is for him. It's just like producing a TV show. He's always talking about the ratings. Hi, people. I'm sorry for being rude. But please, you guys, go ahead and check out that. It's an introduction to that book series. She does a great job at it. Almond Brown. Let me put it on here again. This is her link. I'm gonna put it in the description as well. Just blows me away. I wish I could read loud like that. That would be a lot of fun. But I'm dyslexic, so I just like duh. I ain't gonna do no hatchet job on my own work. So I'm glad she's doing it. Hey, Donetta. Donatette Webster. B. Sowes, 1214. I'm sorry about the hatchet job I do. You guys' names. Hey there, 42 WNV King, the long name man. Thanks for coming in, brother. Damn, you can't blink. You can't blink or you miss the whole thing. You got to admire these people, these commentators on television. I mean, they study this stuff. I guess they go to bed studying this stuff every day for the next day because every day they got to talk about it, right? And every day they're on top of whatever's happened last. And with Trump, you know, they don't take a few hours. He goes say something stupid. He gives you plenty of ammunition to work with. But that's how he won the first time. He had tricked all these damn newscasters and all these television people to give him all this free publicity because they talked about him every damn day. People were paying billions of dollars for all that advertisement. He's getting it for free. They all had to fight to get on television. Oh, wait a minute. I turned the baby's chicken on. I don't think I turned the timer on. Hold on, people. We don't want no fire up in here. You just take 1 minute. Come on, baby. I smell that chicken. I smell that good chicken. Okay. Diddy. I had to make my baby some chicken. He eats chicken breast and carrots every day. He don't eat dog food. He turns his nose. And sometimes he don't even eat the damn chicken after I done sweated over a hot stove all day. He'll wait till the next day and then he'll get hungry and then he'll eat it up. So I don't know if I'm feeding him too much, too little. I don't know. My last dog, Jimmy Dog, he decided when he was tired of chicken, at one point, I had fed him chicken for most of his life. And then he decided he didn't want no more chicken. He started eating dog food for the last 2 years of his life. So maybe this was making a choice, a change too. I don't know. For now, we're making him chicken and carrots. Y'all say happy birthday to Lady Nika. The comeback queen. That's the comeback girl, honey. She's built her platform back up again. Happy birthday, Lady Nika. I wish we could all be nice to each other on here. Of course, we never can. the ones you're blowing kisses this week are the ones you're trying to chop their head off the next week. So these migraines have been doing me in. I can't function or see. You have migraines, B cells. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not a doctor. I'm gonna start giving advice and things, but if you have that, I'm sure that you've tried everything there is to try. I get migraines if my blood pressure gets high. I know I've eaten too much salt or something. I get headaches, right? That's how I discovered that I had high blood pressure. Used to be high blood pressure would kill black folks off like they're cockroaches. But now they have many ways to treat it. But it can be affected by you might. I don't know where you're at, B cells, but get your blood pressure checked, honey. Botox things. Yeah, you said you're trying Botox. I mean, you probably tried a lot of stuff. We got to figure it out. Every time I go to the damn doctor, he telling me something else I can't do. No sugar, no salt, no red meat. Girl. He's full of shh. Hi, Almond Brown 09. There you are. Oh my God. It seems to me that your morality and so forth should mean something. I mean, you would think that anybody else, when he was talking about grabbing people by their private parts because he was a celebrity, that should have been enough to stop the damn. He should have lost right there, right? Nope. That didn't do it. Russia didn't do it. His kissing Putin's ass didn't do it. They just don't care. 20-something thousand lies told on television. If he told 20,000 on television, You can imagine how many he tells off television. He done had 30 books written about him, all of them saying essentially the same things about this person with low character and sounds like pretty much low intelligence in most areas. Maybe he knows how to deal with money in a personal way where he's grabbing it for himself, but that don't mean that he's able to deal with budgets of trillions and trillions of dollars. He just, and they're playing president. And he has such a disrespect for America that he don't give a damn how much damage he does. If you can't drive, if you can't drive, would you put your family in behind the seat? Put your family in a car, you know you can't drive, and just start driving them? Pretty good analogy. You know you can't drive. It's all about his stinking ass ego. Old white man's bucket list. He didn't even believe it could happen. And now you're going to hold on to it. Yeah. Y'all just see how he's handling this COVID thing? What if we got into a major conflict overseas? A war. This is the level he'll be handling it on. Constantly blaming all the generals. How all stupid moves they made. Not taking responsibility for anything. Well, Uncle Sephora C says, Uncle Tim, will you write a book about the beef sector? Well, didn't somebody just do that? Didn't what's the girl's name? She did it. She kind of like court reported it. What's that girl's name? Well, I'm not even gonna challenge his memory man no more. But yeah, but I saw the reaction she got. Right, people jumping all down her throat. People weren't ready to receive it. People pointing at themselves. People thinking the book's all about them and all this kind of shit. I said, girl, I would have to chop it up so much. I might as well just make up a story. Just don't even include any of the stuff that goes on here. Because then if you're successful, people gonna try to sue you, say, oh, that's me. I didn't say that. Oh, she said that this way. Oh, you don't know the backstory. Then they expect you to spend hours and hours and hours and hours doing their backstory so you can present them in their 2 lines kind of thing. I thought the girl did a decent job with that. Sure, I think all writers have probably thought about it. But no, I haven't been inspired. I did. One thought I had about a novel was I was going to call it Doxer, right? And I didn't even write down the plan for it, but it was going to be someone was murdering people on YouTube. I was going to have like, who's killing the great chefs of Europe, right? It was an old movie. But I was going to call it Doxer. It will have characters, people who are doxing, coming up missing. That was the theme. But I said, oh, that's going to be so messy. That's going to be so, then they're going to say I'm trying to plot their murders. Or I'm trying to use their material. And then more than likely, some of those characters would creep into that. But you really got to get tied into a story. Although I know, really, if you really want to do a story, then you just do that page. And then at the end of that page, then you do another page. And it kind of builds. It's not like you go into a story and you know the whole story when you sit down. No, you got to build the story. So it's doable. I won't say that I will never do it, but it's not something I'm really highly interested in. I think I wrote Love and Gospel Music because I was a baby Christian. I was excited. I was excited about my new faith. And I was fascinated by the story of all of these gay men who were in gospel music, but it was like an untold story. They wouldn't admit it. They didn't talk about it. But I just knew that many people, out of many, many conversations, that all these gospel men, I didn't know too much about the women, were in gospel music. So that was it, like the emphasis, right? I think it's a great series. I think it'll catch on. I think this thing that Almond Brown is doing is a good segue, a way to get introduced to the story, right? It involves Christian church. It involves the homophobia. It involves relationships. It's mostly about relationships, right? And then some supernatural as well. So I love that series when I was doing it. And I guess I'm still doing it. I went over the thing today, and I'm three and a half chapters in. And I said, you know, this is a good story, Timothy. If you could just concentrate, get your ass off of YouTube and get into the book. I bet you can get back into that book. Some people, my best friend, who was the editor of both my first 2 books, he would go and rent a cabin. He had responsibilities here in the city and all that kind of stuff, but he couldn't write in his own apartment. When he wrote, he written a couple of plays. He would go off to some private place, rent a hotel room somewhere, and just sit there with his typewriter and write. I don't know if that's going to be required for me. I sat here at my desk and wrote the things that I did write. So I don't know. Inspiration comes when it comes. This fifth book now, I don't know, some great potential there. I listened to it today. I listened to the whole thing, and I said, well, damn, that's a novel. So we'll see. But for now, you guys got plenty of writing from Timothy Blaine if you want to catch up in that series. The thing is, you just get into the series and the characters. They're fascinating. I love hearing it. I love hearing somebody else read it. The guy who comes on here, was Gamish yeah. One of the occasional moderators on here, Gamish Carter from here in San Francisco. He was the editor on the Epiphani. Right? That was the book that the guy Alex on Amazon called a near perfect novel. And he was the person who made a living reviewing novels. Uncle Tim is, I gotta take, come here, baby. I'm gonna show you how obedient I am. Come here, sweetheart. Deenie, 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 deenie. People say, why don't you take your damn thing off of him? Take that brassiere off of him. It makes him uncomfortable. So, because you guys said it, I'm going to do it. I said, well, hell, I can take it off. All you do is pull it like this. There you go. Wait a minute, Queen. Da-dum! No bra. He's braless. I can't tell if he can tell the difference or not. But it's just been so hot lately that I imagine that thing is uncomfortable for him. I left it on because he wouldn't have to get used to it coming on and off kind of thing, right? But no, there's no reason he has to have it on in the house. I only got that big old, that harness type thing for him because he pulls. So if he pulls like that, he can choke himself and hurt his throat. Burn up the chicken. I turned it off, Almond Brown. I don't think it's totally cooked, but it was getting close to it because I can smell it. I'll turn it back on. I have to have a timer for everything. I felt a little Southern tonight. Yeah, some of my characters are Southern. There's others too. Let me see. The greatest will swear characters are them and what to sue. Right. They're gonna make a great big old thing about everybody's them and all that kind of stuff. I guess it depends. You know, you can very easily make a love story on here. You could have a couple people on here talking online. You could go and build a relationship. It would be very easy to do. But no matter what you did, somebody's going to accuse it of being them, right? They're going to take all the glory for themselves. Oh, it's a book about me. So I don't know. We never know what we're going to do, people. Before I wrote The Meth Monster, I hadn't even heard about writing a book. I never even occurred to me to write a book. Before I woke up that morning, I just woke up. In my language, God told me to go sit down and start writing. So that's the way it was. Just get up and just go start writing. So we continue to hope for that kind of thing. And then I wrote straight for 12 years. But it might be over. I'm willing to accept that. It could be that, you know, I'm 62. It might be done or it might not be done. I don't know. He leads and we follow, right? You'll get them. Those books are all, you can download them for $5, $6. I think the hardcovers are $15, but you can download. I do everything on my Kindle. I just bought a new Kindle. I haven't used it yet, but Squeenie is free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty. I'm free at last. I'm free. I don't know what made that baby happy. It was so cute. Yesterday, I was laying in bed. He just comes and he lays his face right here on me, right? And he just sit there and stare at me for a half hour. I'm ignoring him, right? Because I don't. I always got to go through what does he want. So I got to try this treat, that treat. I know what time he goes to the bathroom, but he just like sitting. I just want to sit here, Daddy. What's the matter? I just want to sit here and look at you. My sweet dog. He naked now. He ain't going nowhere. He might as well be naked. Sometimes you want to grab that rascal, you just got to grab him by his waist. They live for food, but they also live for affection. At least this one. Dogs they need affection just as much as they need treats. And sometimes those of us who are lazy will keep giving them stuff, and treats and toys and stuff because we don't want to invest the attention in them. They want our attention. They said, Daddy, don't got to get nothing, Daddy. Relax. Just relax. I just want to look at you. He loves you. He loves you. Well, they are definitely a part of society, honey. And there's such a variety of them in my neighborhood. I'm amazed at how can there be so many different varieties of dogs. Arrogant humans, they want to think we created the dog. We designed this one. That's the design. It ain't no design. There's no more design of it when you have an interracial marriage. A black one, a white one get together and they have a baby. Well, is that baby? Is that something you made or you designed? You didn't design it. Hell, God designs life, right? So if they breed two dogs together, they haven't designed the dog. They haven't made the dog. They just mix sperm. We do that as humans. What kind is it? You have 17 dogs. Oh, hold on there, brother. I ain't even gonna try to pronounce that name, brother Edgewold. You have 17 dogs? What are you, a breeder? No dogs in your thing. 17 dogs. Oh, you must have a farm or some land or something. Yeah. Yeah, he's Lhasa Apso. So he's almost like a Shih Tzu. Right? These dogs were guard dogs in Tibet. And the monks would use these dogs. Their job was to alert the lions of strangers in the building. Now, I don't know if they didn't design them to do that or train them to do that. That's what this dog was known for doing. They react to strangers. So it's like I'm sitting here and a friend of mine comes from behind his chair. If he knows the person, he'll just sit right there. But if he doesn't know the person from far a distance, he'll start barking and carrying on like that. That's why walking down the street, I got to keep him on a short leash, because if he don't know the person, he always reacts to people, particularly people approaching you, right? But if like the people who are in the building or friendly with the dog already know him, he has no reaction to them at all. He just goes to get patted by them. So they use them for that. Both the Shih Tzu and the Lhasa Apso. I ain't making it up, people. It's all here on YouTube. Affection and true. Yep. They're super little sweethearts. You just love taking care of them because they need you. Daddy, I ain't got no hands. I can't eat no sandwich. You got to give it to me. Yep. They even broke down old Obama. Remember he promised them both. All right, ladies, I know y'all are suffering from me being the president. Maybe I'll get you a puppy. Yeah, mine are inside blue skies. He's only in here. He will bark at anybody come past that door because the elevator is right in front of the door. So he'll bark. But if I keep him in the bedroom, they can't hear him. So whenever I have to leave him, I just lock him in his bedroom part. When I moved in or I'm moving furniture or something, I lock him in the bathroom. He doesn't make a peep. He's perfectly fine in there. It's a lot bigger than a cage, right? A lot of people leave their dogs, particularly if they have big dogs in their when they're not at home, they'll leave them in a cage. Well, a bathroom is a lot bigger than a cage, so he's fine in there if need be, but that very rarely happens. He's mostly fine. As soon as people pass, let me see. How you spell your name? If all Demai. If all Demai. Hey, I'm glad you like the story. I think it's a brilliant way to do it. She reads for 45 minutes. And she does a theatrical read. I mean, she's able to pick these characters up pretty easily because I didn't tell her who the people were or who had accents and whatever. She picked it up on her own. Then, of course, you can get them on your own and read. Mr. I fell, whatever. Mr. Edgewell, you're so talkative tonight. Look at all these. Wait a minute. Oh, my God. You from Atlanta? You must have some property. You got that many dogs. Yeah, if I had a big old house or something, it'd be full of dogs. I love them. I even like the little kitty cats now. I've seen some of it when I go to the pet store. Some of those little, especially when the cats are babies, when they're puppies. I mean, they're just irresistible, and it's so soft and you know. I don't know. If I had more space, I would probably have more than one animal. A lot of people have two just so they have somebody to play with. I said, no, your uncle's old man. He don't be running after all these dogs. What else is going on today? Anything going on in the beef sector? I see that. Never mind. The beef sector is so much fun. It's a whole lot more fun than talking about celebrities and stuff. I mean, you go in there, you got 20 people talking about the same celebrities. I mean, but this is so much more personal, don't you think? But of course, some of us are on there just acting a damn fool just for the sake of nothing, just for the sake of doing it. Do you like cats, Uncle Tim? Well, I was just saying, I love little kittens, little kitty cats. A friend of mine had cat. First time I went over there, I started itching. I was scratching. I was allergic because I hadn't been in their house, and they had like 4 different cats. And then one of them took an interest in me. He was sitting there staring at me for a while, and then after I guess he decided I was safe, he jumped up on me. It was. I said, "Oh, this is cute. I could fall in love with one of these easily." Yeah, but this building here is no pets, right? That's the rule. However, in San Francisco, if you have need of a care animal, a support animal, you can have pets. So the people who here who have some sort of have need of a service animal. For me, it was HIV, and they gave a lot of HIV people that because they're alone, older people. A lot of older people have pets because that's the only people that are left in the house, kind of thing. So they allow you to have one pet, and you can take that pet into the grocery store. I don't ever push the issue, but you can take them into the grocery store. You can take them into restaurants. You can take them out all kind of places if they have this license. See, they give them a little license. If they have that, then they can get on the bus. They can go to supermarkets, restaurants. They can do a lot of stuff because they are a support animal. That's this chair. SF dog license. So SF dog license. They got to pay tax on that too once a year. But we never know what's going to happen in the future. For now, I'm fine with one dog. One little dog. Between my old dog and this new dog, I only waited about a month when my other dog passed away. I started looking just casually 2 weeks later, and at the end of the month, I had another dog. I've just gotten so used to them. So it was weird coming home with no one here kind of thing. I don't know. It's something about the responsibility of taking care of something as well. Right. Mm-hmm. Cats are too sneaky. I used to be scared of them. I used to think those eyes, because the eyes were slits, it looked like the devil. Because every time they showed pictures of the devil, he always had those kind of eyes, right? Slits in the eyes. And then in the horror movies, they would always have black cats. And that would be a sign of something evil and dirty. But no, that's not the truth at all. So unfortunately, you don't encounter very many cats. I've only seen a couple of cats out being walked on a leash. Some of the homeless people do that because they don't have a place. So they'll have a dog on a leash, a cat on a leash. But generally speaking, people's cats are inside of their homes. So you wouldn't necessarily encounter cats, right? And there's an extra cleanup because everything's inside, you know. I've been watching Jermaine Ellis. Oh, you've been watching Jermaine Ellis? I like that kid. We've met on the street several times too. You're not online. He's doing apartment tour. Yeah, he's been doing apartment tours lately. He's really actually a world traveler, Sable. Generally speaking, under normal conditions, he could be in London, Paris, all these different countries that I can't even name. And then his pit stop, his home spot would be here in San Francisco. But now, since this Corona thing, he's just been here talking about San Francisco only. He also used to do a lot of videos on New York and just talking about life in the various cities. Lately, he's been doing apartment things because he's looking for an apartment here. Yeah, I like him. He's a nice kid. And we ran into each other on the bus a couple of times, then on the street. First time he was riding that thing, and motorized scooter he rides. And I said, "Hey, Jermaine," I almost made him crash. I said, "Hey, Jermaine," he said, "Calm down." You act like I'm Jermaine Jackson or somebody, child. But I'm sure he's used to that, you know. SF's a small place. Oh, I'm sorry there, S child. You lost your pet. Some people wait a long time, and some people just go get another pet. There's another pet out there that needs you. It needs a home. Right? The Queen of England had several dogs. I'm sure that people would have all these great big old mansions and stuff must have many. I mean, why would you want to have animals, some life in them damn things? Those houses are so big that, unless you have your whole family living there, and there'd be a lot of dead space in the places. So I've just noticed a lot of interior designers, though, have dogs. A lot of designers. Usually when a designer is showing you interior, there's always a dog in the picture. They somehow make a house a home, particularly if you live alone. I like even some of the little, the cute little, what do you call them? The little doggy purse dogs. They're so cute. You see that little head sticking out of there. So I guess that's part of the latest fashion because they look flawless. You know, they have all kind of designer bags for them and all that. Sometimes they dress them up. He's doing apartments tour. Yeah, the apartment tour thing is pretty cool. Have you noticed how small the apartments are, though? I mean, even the high rises that he's doing. Today, he talked about SROs, which are tiny little apartments. They're apartments half the size of this bedroom, which the whole thing is in there, the bathroom, the kitchen, everything. But usually he's talking about like medium grade apartments, not real high end type places, but in these high rises. So a lot of the buildings he's showing, I'm very familiar with the buildings. He was in my best friend's building. But you get to see some of the apartments. I like looking at the apartments. That's why I'm an avid fan of House Hunters. I've been watching that for years. I think I've been watching House Hunters regularly for 10 years. I don't know, something about the choosing of the place I just like. I don't like a lot of the decorator shows. You would think I would like those. It's not about that. It's not about do-it-yourself kind of places. I don't like flip places. I like the idea of looking into other people's homes, what they choose to be their house, and guessing what their house is going to be like. They don't do enough single people, though. Usually, all house hunters, they're always couples, and then mostly there are suburban homes. I like to hear more about city condos, high rises, stuff like that. Usually, you find those, and they do a lot of Chicago. Every once in a while, they come to the Bay Area. Not really, though. Mostly, it's bigger houses, and they're looking for houses for their families. I prefer the single people, male and female, the single women and the single men. But I like all of them. I mean, I watch all of them. Mm-hmm. I ain't bringing myself no water or nothing. Lord have mercy. Hold on. Stop looking at my ass. Y'all keep trying to catch a picture of my ass, so I always got to learn how to pull it down as I'm rising. I know it looks so delicious and wonderful. 1 second, people. Just kidding, people. Ain't nobody looked at this ass in a long time. That's all right with me. Oh, so you don't know? I really love HGTV. I watch it every day. I watch HGTV every day. That's how I go to sleep. And I go to on demand to watch the old episodes. But I think I've watched pretty much all of them, the old ones and the current stuff. So I go on demand. And then they got episodes on here on YouTube. Yeah, I love that show. I don't know what it is about certain kind of house shows I love. Some ones I don't. I used to like Selling New York. I love that. That was on Bravo. And was Selling New York. Was that on Bravo or HGTV? Then I like $1 Million Listing, Bravo. I didn't like as much. I don't think I liked LA as much as I liked New York. $1 Million Listing, New York. And they had for a short time. They had one for San Francisco. LA, I'm not all that impressed with LA architecture, to tell you the truth. All cities have certain architecture, but that 50 style type, I mean, when you're talking high end, of course, then you're going to get grand places. It doesn't make a difference what city they're in. So, I mean, they're grand places. I think I like the personalities better on the ones in New York. And I like architecture better in New York. If you have money in Los Angeles, I mean, there's 1,000 different styles, beautiful places. But if you're just a regular person, right? Let's say you're a middle income person, you're spending a couple, $2,000-$3,000 a month. That architecture, I don't like it. I guess they would consider it to be mid-century modern. Palm Springs is really more mid-century modern because they're standalone houses. But there's a kind of like almost like a Motel 6 kind of feel to Los Angeles. So those are not my favorite. International House Under. Yeah, I used to get it. I go through periods. Certain cities I like in international. I love to, I never miss the ones that are about Paris or London because I like big cities. I don't really like the ones that take place on like beaches. I'm not. Somehow people, they just love the water. Everyone wants to be near the water, and they'll pay millions and millions of dollars to do that. But the water is not really my landscape. My favorite landscape are city views. So even though I like a lot of old stuff, generally speaking, I like new buildings, high rises, mid rises, stuff like that. But just because I'm a single man, I just find it interesting to see how other single men live. Unfortunately, most people who are buying houses, they're not single. You get with somebody, then you buy a house. So a lot of that stuff is about the bedrooms, about the kids, you know. Maybe I'm being a little silly about that because I watch all of it. Homes in New York have a nice art. Yeah, I like the New York homes. I like the brownstones, and I love the high rises. Even though there's less space, because New York City, I mean, even if you're spending $3-4 million, they're still just basically small 2-bedroom, 2-3-bedroom apartments. But I just like all of that view. Right. And even though if their places are smaller, they still have the high-end finishes. Mm-hmm. That gorgeous chair. The international gets on your nerves. Why they get on your nerves? Alakaya 25. Alakaya 25. Okay. The people get on your nerves. You know, there was a big scandal on HGTV where people came forward and said that it wasn't really real. Oh, it's fake news and all that else stuff. Donald Trump had all that fake news. His mouth. Anyway. They said, oh, it's all fake. We had to find our own apartments. We already knew what apartment we picked. So when we see these people choosing apartments, they're actually acting then. That's what they're saying. But that don't take away anything. They're still choosing an apartment, right? They just pick 3 out of them. Sometimes one thing annoys me about HGTV is it's always the same storyline. It's always she wants a condo, he wants the suburbs. He wants a condo, she wants the suburbs. And that same thing, that same dynamic. It seems to me that some of these couples would want the same thing. They don't do that because, as the producers explained it, they have to come up with it. They still got to make it entertaining, right? So you're choosing between one thing and the other thing. One wants vintage, one wants modern. But that story, that's like in every storyline. I'm not wild about that. I like the way they treat gay people and straight people the same way, though. I always like that. Even before gay marriage, they still would show gay couples and lesbian couples or any kind of couples, just people. It wasn't like, they're only going to show married couples. And they show people who live together. They show people. I mean, it seemed pretty fair to me. I love New York. I'd love to go and visit New York, actually. I visited one time. We made it a month, and we ended up going back to L.A., but I'd like to go there. Thing is, you got to have enough money in Manhattan, and ideally, you have somewhere to stay. If you have somewhere to stay, that's most of your problem, Not only just because you want it, because it's cheaper, but you also, it'd be nice to somebody who knows the city to be there with you. You don't go there, be by yourself. Some people travel, they don't need to have anybody with them. They just travel down. I'm going to Paris. And they go by themselves. I can't do that. For me, I've got to be with somebody so I can say, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. There's the Eiffel. There's this. If I can't share with anybody, it's not worth seeing to me. Even in my own city, in San Francisco, I don't go anywhere. I very rarely go out to the beach. I don't go to the piers and all of the tourist stuff. I mean, people just live in the city. If you live here, it's not very exciting. But when someone comes to visit, then it becomes exciting again, But yeah, I definitely, that's on my bucket list to go back to New York City. I loved Manhattan. I lived there, right there on Chelsea. What was it? Chelsea, right between the Village and is it Soho or Chelsea? I lived right on the cusp there. I think it was called Avenue of Americans, was at the corner. But we went there. I got a lawsuit. We went there, and we were partying hard at that time. I was in my early 20s, and me and my partner, we went through all the money. We had $5 or $6 grand. Went through every dime of it. We had to go and get the money, the deposit back from the building we got. We got into the apartment. It was only $400 deposit. And we partied until the last day. We would have made up some story, and the guy gave us our deposit back to get plane tickets out of town. Fortunately, when we got back to LA, the apartment that we left was still, we had left somebody there that was still there. Without the architecture, Paris is myth. It's a myth. I love that architecture there. The old buildings and the old tall buildings. And also, I love London. I like that London, those townhouses they have there. There's cities here that have great, New York with all its brownstones. One thing about New York I don't like the architecture of the buildings in Queens and the Bronx. I guess the Bronx now is gentrified, so they got all kind of new stuff going on. But I don't like them old Archie Bunker looking places. And they have them all over, it seems like, outside of the city of Manhattan. I don't know why. I just don't like that architecture. Of course, now they do everything. The architecture on the outside has nothing to do with what's on the inside, right? If you walk around San Francisco, you say, all these old dirty buildings, who pay all this money to live here? But then the inside is totally renovated. The building might have been built in 1800s. Here is mostly Victorians or Georgian buildings. But when you get inside, then it's been redone. I mean, a lot of them are modern and a lot of them just restored beautifully. I never want to live in New York City, though. I would love to live in New York City, though, if I had a reason to be there. It's just like LA. If you have a career, if you're an actress, or you have some reason to be in that city, then the city becomes very exciting, right? But just to live somewhere Like, I don't do anything. I'm a retired person, right? But if I was still being active and moving around and doing things and trying to create careers and so forth, I think I would be much more excited by someplace like New York City. I would just like the energy of the city. You know, it's like in LA, everybody wants to be somebody. Everybody's working on something especially when you're young, you know. But to visit, it'd be great to go to New York City. I don't know what I would do. I don't drink, so I can't go to the bars. When we went there last time, all we did was go to the clubs. DC, I would like to go there. Right, I agree. DC does have beautiful brownstones as well. Yeah, Mr. Sudi, that's what they say about San Francisco. It's cute for tourists. When you go down by the piers and so forth, that's mostly tourists down there. So it's dead right now because, of course, there's no tourism. But people are packing to the city. And they're seeing some great stuff, great parts of the city, which I didn't ever go to. I live down in the city. You like the Property Brothers? I never got it there. I don't know why I don't, because Property Brothers, that's the other one where the Love It or List It. That seems like they do a good job. There used to be an interior designer on there I like called Candace. Is it Candace Olsen or Owen? I used to like her show. I've been decorating my whole life. I don't want to watch people put up bricks and, you know, do home renovations and stuff like that. But some people love that stuff, particularly if they're homeowners, because they're always working on their house, you know. So they're always getting ideas and so forth. I just like to watch them choose where they want to live. Outside looks like turds. My last building in DC look okay. Oh, viewers of you live in DC? But the inside baby was fired, right? I like new buildings for some reason. I'm not really into the Victorians and all that. But then I like older stuff, so it's a combination. If I was in a Victorian building, then I would probably go with a modern interior. The contrast is exciting to me. This building here looks like $1 million outside right now. They just redid it. It took 2 years right before Corona hit. So I feel like I'm set here. It's just an empty shell, you know. Do what you want to do with it. Sometimes older buildings, I mean, you got older stairwells. You got layers and layers and layers of paint on its stuff and older kitchens. And even a lot of those apartments in New York City, you go into the kitchen and the kitchen used to be a closet. I mean, they really chop up the space there. The apartment that we had there, people said we would never find an apartment for $400 or $500 a month, right? We went to this apartment, a finder's place, and we found an apartment in 3 days. The bathroom was in the hallway. They called it still an apartment. It was a nice neighborhood. But the closet used to be the walk-in closet. They put a stove in there, a microwave, and 2 burners, and a little sink, and that was the kitchen. It was back in the 80s. So I'll tell you one thing, though, about this coronavirus. These prices have come way, way down. That's one thing I got from watching Jermaine Ellis. The prices just last year, astronomical. 4,000 for 2-bedroom, which are now less than 3,000. They've had some major cuts because people have moved out. And I think also when these people are realizing that they can work exclusively from home, why live here and pay all this rent? You can live anywhere, you know, if you can do it all. It was all going to be done online. So I think a lot of people are discovering that I can do this job. I can do what I do all online. There's no reason for you to be in the Bay Area. A lot of times they come here to develop whatever their software is, to develop, you know, the product. But I think a lot of them now are moving away after they've done that. You don't need the connections and all that. It's all online. People move to islands and so forth. Prince Alphabet Street. Where's that at? Montreal. I've never been to Canada. Mr. Suter, you still live in Canada? Okay, I think you will love Quebec in Canada. Yeah, you mentioned Canada. Are you still in Canada? It's cold. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I love some of those cities. I see those modern buildings. I love all that. Maybe I gotta give me a husband before I start traveling, though. I don't want to travel by myself. I just don't see it, honey. And I don't know nobody looking for no 60-year-old traveling companions. But you never know. Never say never. Never say never. Only place I lived in. First, LA, 15 years. Here, 20-something years. 27 years, I think. New York for that 1 month and a half. And there was a time when I got stuck in Las Vegas. That's it. I ain't been nowhere. I don't have a strong desire to travel, you know. Unless I get married, people. Where you live at, Mr. Sudi? What state you're in? You in the U.S.? Okay. But you were born in Canada? Oh, you used to live in Europe? Okay. You gonna be my husband, Alfreda Gross? Lord have mercy. Yeah, I think the husband days might be behind me. So sad. See, when you're young, you're thinking ahead of you. You're always wondering when it will happen, when will be my turn, kind of thing. But as you get older, you live mostly in the past. You know what I'm saying? What I did, who I was with, kind of thing. So the hope of something in front of you gets slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. Mm-hmm. S. Childs. Okay, who she's talking about? Amsterdam. Yeah, I like Amsterdam. Some of those European cities, yeah, I like them. They got their places that are work live spaces right on that water, whatever the body of water is. They all ride bicycles and they take the little boats from very romantic places. I think as a young person, you get to decide where you want to live. I made that decision at 19. I always wanted to live in LA for years before I actually went there. So that dream had come true. And then I got shipped up here. But when you're young, you get to make a decision, man, before you start buying things and getting long-term jobs and doing all, and particularly having children. Because after you have children, I mean, that's essentially, it's kind of it, where you're going to be, you know. Some people have good jobs, they move them around and stuff like that. But when you're young, you got to kind of, decide. Like at 19, I could have went to New York. Yes, it would have been cold. Yes, I would have definitely had a harder time. But I could have still chosen where I wanted to live out my life. I could have went to Chicago. For me, I think it always would have been a big city. But I wanted to go to LA, so that's where I went. Rent control should be nationwide. Well, it sure is a big deal here. The only reason you see people like me walking around San Francisco is because of rent control. Rent control, housing subsidy, mostly rent control. Some people bought houses in the Castro for $60,000 back in 1965. You know. And then a lot of them who lived in rental apartments, they're still in those apartments, but they have rent control. They ain't gonna move. People don't move around like here. They don't move around that much. So only way to get in now is get into a BMR, below market rate unit. but it's not an easy thing to do, and it takes years to do it. I mean, you have to get on. They call them lotteries. So I guess if you have a lottery, you can have a brand new building, right? Let's say the building got 60 new units in it that are below market rate. Some people get in there when they fill the application in. 60 people are going to get apartments right away, right? And then the people who are on the wait list, they could be on their wait list for the next 10 years, because after the people get in, they ain't going nowhere. Where are they going to go? Then they got to apply for another below market rate apartment. Nobody wants to go from a below market rate apartment to a regular market rate apartment, because the market rate apartment is no better than the below market rate apartment, right? So it's tricky. It took me 10 years. No, I ain't telling all my business. Fuck all that. Whatever. It took me 10 years to get a subsidy, rental subsidy, even qualify for it for a whole 10 years. And then after the 10 years, to get this apartment, I waited 3.5 years for this on the wait list. Because maybe you got all these people moving in, but ain't nobody moving out. They move out one at a time. So it took 3.5 years. So that's 13 years before I can find housing that I can afford and stay in the city. So where would I move to? Start the whole thing over again? Nope. Today, the guy, Jermaine Ellis, he was talking about how people pack up. Because I used to walk around the Castro and I was saying, I would see beautiful people, young people, gorgeous. I said, how in the hell are these young boys paying all this damn rent? Because the rent is $3,000-$4,000 a month. $3,000 just for a one bedroom or studio, some studios. And then you go, my experience going to the apartments is just like he said today. The living room is somebody's bedroom. The dining room, someone sleeps there. You know, they might have 2 people in each bedroom. They stack up in order to come up with all this money. Everything is rented, though. I mean, it's very few vacancies, so there are ways to do it. Yeah, I may make it to Canada. That's the closest one. Do y'all have to get those special licenses now? A real license? California, we got to get a real license now. So if you have a regular driver's license, starting in, I believe it's October, you will not be able to get on an airplane and go anywhere. They got these real IDs, real driver's license. You have to have one to travel. I believe it started in October. So I got to go get a different driver's license, California ID. I don't know if that's nationwide or not. It sounds like it might be nationwide. I think they call it a real license. Ain't that a bitch? Another way to get money out of you. We've been traveling on our own regular license for the last 50 years. Now, all of a sudden, when there's no activity but from any terrorists or anything, we got to go get a whole new license with a certain mark on it in order to travel anywhere. Pretty bad. Especially when you're locked down, you're on Corona. So I don't even know, because you can get a regular license, you can get it online. But if you want a real license, which allow you to travel, you got to go down to the DMV. Get you a passport. Would a passport serve the same purpose? Rosemary's Baby. Lord have mercy. Rosemary's Baby. That was good. That was a good movie. Scary. It's upon our renewal. Okay, so your renewal, you have to go down to the DMV to get it, though, right? Unless you have a passport. I don't even know what the procedure. I've never been out of this country. I doubt they're ever going anywhere, really. Passport or a real ID. Okay. Well, we'll get around to it, but I'm not going to stand in long lines nowhere right now. So I just hope no trips come up. Why they got to add that though? That don't. To me, that's just silly. How long we been flying with a regular ID that we have from whatever state we're from? Now we got to get a special ID, special marking on the ID. So that people find different ways to raise money. They're gonna make it hard to travel. What somebody die in your family tonight? You gotta go out. Oh, you can't travel. You gotta go get the ID. So with OID is no good. Your face change or something. Government. I don't know if they probably put some other marking on it. Foolishness. Oh, the fall to come out in winter, not summer. Suddenly winter. Yeah, so the weather's going to break in a minute here. It was hot today. It's been hot for a week here. It's been muggy. Like I'm sure I'm sweating in my arms now. But I mean, it's only going to last for what, another couple of weeks. I like the cute couple of the Asian woman and blonde guy. Where's that at? On what? Asian? Are you talking about HCTV? Mr. Supreme? Asian woman and a blonde guy. Oh no, who are they? There's also one called Selling Sunset on Netflix. When I looked in there, it was so much about glamour and pretty girls and high heels, and it just wasn't much about the real estate itself. So maybe I'll look in there again on that, because I generally like those kind of shows. I used to love Selling New York. But it depends on how well the things are produced as well. But I guess they are in their third season or something like that for Selling Sunset. So, okay, you guys, so go and check out Almond Brown reading of the Epiphani, chapter 3. She only does one chapter. She did 2 chapters last week. I guess they were shorter. I don't remember how I wrote them. But today she did chapter 3. It's an interesting read. I find it fascinating. Of course, I'm prejudiced, but I think it's a good way to get introduced to that series. Okay, if you like to read, you'll find out if it's worth reading, right? All right, guys, thanks for coming in. Thanks, moderators. Thank you, guys. Good night.